podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. Welcome to episode 361 of Film Bastards. My name's Ian Loring, and as always, I am joined by...
Becky Foster, hello everybody.
Matt Foster, hello everybody.
And we are graced with the presence of a man that we've not had on the show for a while, because there's been fuck all out. But he's joining us not for one review, not for 3 reviews, but for 2 reviews. It is...
Noel Mellor, hello.
Noel is back with us, ladies and gents. And why? Why? Is there a comic book film?
Is it comic book movie time?
Is there... What do I see? Is it a mirage? It doesn't feel like it could be real. We didn't think it was real, but hang on a second. I'm walking towards it. Fucking hell! It's real! The New Mutants! They're here and we've seen it!
In cinemas.
Jesus fucking Christ. So...
Yet more proof the simulation is broken.
In simulation news this week as well, Michael Owen has launched an IPA.
In China.
The fuck? In China. Yep.
He doesn't drink, does he? Is this like he plays football but doesn't like it?
No, he does drink. He doesn't drink hot drinks because this is genuine. He doesn't drink hot drinks because they're for grown-ups. That's what he literally said that in an interview once. And somebody said, "You're in your 30s, mate. Could you got what?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, but I never got round to trying it."
How old is Michael Owen now?
He must be 41, 42.
Michael Owen.
Then again, saying that, Ice-T didn't.
40 years old.
Ice-T didn't have his first cup of coffee until last year. And it's because somebody referenced it on Twitter, and he was like, "No, I don't drink coffee. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life." So he went to a coffee shop, filmed it, had a cup of coffee, filmed it on Twitter, and went, I don't know what everyone's bragging about it. That good.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
That's the ones he drinking. He's like, I drink like fruit juice. That's what I drink.
This is Ice-T talking to you, boy. I'm about to try some coffee.
It basically was that. It wasn't far off that, actually.
I'm so excited. I'm about to come in my pants.
I don't know if I get through a general day today without coffee. You must have a very easy life.
Well, maybe.
I can't imagine much phases Ice-T.
I don't know. I'll listen to his recent interview on Mark Maron's podcast. It was really good, actually. And he seems pretty rattled about COVID-19, to be fair. He seems a bit like he was very sort of like, man, I ain't leaving the house for nothing. So like, just really like, I think to be fair, he knows a couple of people who've had it who were quite ill with it, but he's like, they were talking about the idea that, you know, people are saying to him, "Oh, why are you scared of this?" Like, and he's like, "Well, you know, this ain't something that you can just punch. It's not about being tough and all this. It's not about being a gangster. This thing will put you on your ass and stuff like that." And it was, yeah, man, he's rattled about coronavirus. So,
Wow.
Oh,
It's luxury to just stay inside and hide from it.
He said he just sends his wife to the supermarket whenever they need him.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, probably because she's like 19, I would guess, but
yeah, maybe not exactly fitting the demographic of people who are at particular risk of COVID. Yeah, fair enough. And well, so we've also got Noel on because
of his shit Ice-T impersonations.
Well, actually, no. I actually thought it was all right. It kind of the second one not as good, but I did like the first one where it was just like, I ain't going out for nothing. Like I enjoyed that quite a bit. I'm not going to do an Ice-T impersonation.
I'll work on it for an upcoming podcast me and Mark are doing.
Ooh, nice. What was the name of that fucking rock? Was it Body Count?
Body Count, yeah.
Yeah. What a time.
Excellent band. Their new album's great. The album before that was great. So yeah. Find out more on an upcoming episode of Tales from the Tape Deck.
Fucking A. That sounds fantastic. So also we've got a long gestating sequel, which was supposed to come out in August and came out in August, just about. Well done, Bill and Ted Face the Music. We'll be talking about that. Mark, Becky, and myself will also be talking about Amy Seimetz's low budget horror thingamajig, She Dies Tomorrow. And I'm sure.
Okay. Sorry, it's Buzz Horror, isn't it? This.
Yes, it is.
Great. Okay, I look forward to hearing about this.
Nice.
Definitely a thing that's available to watch.
Is it out there as well?
It's it's there.
Okay.
It exists in the world.
It's definitely available on iTunes in the UK. So that's how we saw it. So yes, and trailers, what we watched, news and whatnot. It would be fucking stupid of us to go through the show without talking about the ridiculously fucking sad death of Chadwick Boseman, a man who will forever live in some sort of pop culture sphere for a great number of decades to come, I think. Obviously was Black Panther, but also played Jackie Robinson, James Brown, just fucking an incredibly prolific short career, and a man who everybody seems to have just said was fucking lovely and meant an awful lot to a lot of people. Just absolutely fucking insane news on Saturday morning,
Yeah, I don't think anybody was really expecting that, were they? Apparently not even Marvel, it turns out. I don't know, it's incredibly sad. It was a very shocking thing to hear. I think obviously most people will be more familiar with him from his role as Black Panther in the solo film, but also in the Avengers films. It's certainly where I'm most familiar with him from. I think Black Panther as a movie, I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think it's got its weaknesses, but I think the one thing that's always stood out and shone way beyond any of those weaknesses is just the sheer importance of it and the the wider cultural impact of it. Nobody can argue with that, and I think that actually his performance as T'Challa really amplifies that. I think his sort of his appearance in Civil War, he plays the role in a very regal, reserved kind of way. And I think for me, it's just incredibly sad as a Marvel fan, as a comic book fan, as a comic book movie fan, we're not going to get to see him grow this character and do more with it. Because I think one of the things I was excited about was seeing Black Panther grow into the much bigger character that he is in the comics. He's part of he grows to be a big part of the Avengers, and he grows to be a big part of the Marvel Universe politics. And it would have been great to see that. And it is incredibly sad we're not going to get the chance to see that, and he's not going to get the chance to do it.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think for movie fans, I think it's going to be one of those shit. Where were you when you found out kind of moments? I think it's. I think the last one that last one that kind of rocked people from a film world kind of one was Anton Yelchin, but I think the last one that hit people kind of like that continued to hit the film community, I think this half was probably Heath Ledger. And
as an untapped kind of like unfulfilled potential kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's weird because we've got he I think like Ian said there, he had quite a prolific but really short career. We weren't getting movies from this guy when he was 19, 20. He's only been in movies for around about 10 years, and we recently watched him in 21 Bridges there, and it's probably the most I've enjoyed watching him. And it's like, oh, holy shit! You watch going, I'd love to see this guy doing more stuff like this. It was, you got the real a different kind of charisma that was there. I think I think the fact that no one seemed to know is I think is fantastic. The fact that he very much seems like he wanted to keep this to himself, and as he fucking should.
It makes the slightly sort of unenthusiastic red carpet appearances and stuff like that hit a bit different though, because like you're looking at it now going, oh shit, when everyone was criticizing him for like half-ass doing the Wakanda salute and stuff like that, he was going through some shit.
Yeah, and I think
he was still having to do this big publicity trial.
Yeah, it's an incredibly sad thing, and
I think the other thing as well is that was part of his like I say, part of his character in Black Panther and part of his role within the Marvel Cinematic Universe was having that sort of regal sort of sense of class about him, and I think that really comes across in the way he was doing red carpets and stuff like that. I also think though there was moments in his Marvel appearances where, particularly when you see him speaking to, is it Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri? There's moments in there where he relaxes and he responds to her as a brother would a sister, and you see his cooler sort of more, less regal sort of side come through, and that's just really nice to see as well. It's a shame we don't get to see him do more stuff. It's a selfish thing to say, but it's true. And
that's true.
And like I say about the whole sort of like cultural impact thing, this is a character that and a movie that gave kids all over the world who weren't necessarily represented weren't represented in Marvel movies and superhero movies. It gave them a hero to look up to, but at the same time, it illustrates to me just how things like this can translate for everyone. Like as I was speaking to somebody about this recently, but like, Charlie's favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe character is Black Panther. And when Charlie saw Black Panther, he immediately wanted a Black Panther outfit, and he immediately wanted wanted to run around the house being Black Panther, because kids don't see that, they just see how cool the character is. So for something to be so important and to give so much to one community, but at the same time just be this broad representation of what hero is incredibly special. So like you say, he'll be remembered for all the right reasons in comic book movie circles, I think.
It's I don't know. I suppose we don't need to say much more about it, but it's give it fucking Letitia, right? Let's go. Let's fucking go. You know, and you'd like to think that would, like, if he had a say in it, that would be the kind of thing that he'd be pushing for as well. I mean, who knows? But that feels like the natural thing to do. It feels like the right thing to do. It feels like, just from a progressive point of view, fucking let's do it. And just frankly, you've got someone there who could do that role for the next 20, 25 years without breaking a fucking sweat.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Chadwick Boseman, and just very, 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 very fucking sad. And like Mark said, good on him for keeping it quiet. That's hell of a thing. Learned a fair bit about how Hollywood works in that regard, reading that Hollywood Reporter article. Very interesting stuff. But yeah.
We will get to see him again as Black Panther, though, because of the What If animated show. So apparently he did record that, didn't he? So
Good.
We will get another dose of Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, as far as I'm aware, anyway.
Yeah, that's all fully recorded and finished.
Yeah.
He had one other role that he'd completed as well, a Netflix film. For the life of me, I can't remember it. I'm so sorry, but that's
actually, yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
Ma something. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, but it's due on Netflix later this year, so we'll see about that. But yeah, very sad, very, very fucking sad.
Netflix have apparently asked his family if they want that delaying.
Night, buddy.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Got some.
Sorry, Charlie.
No,
got
no,
something
all
to tell
good,
me.
all good.
Go on, share it with the group.
For Christmas, I'm gonna get some boots that has a button on the side, and when you press it, the boots make you jump really high.
Hiya.
Mhm.
Okay.
Nice.
Sweet.
Good work.
Bye
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Night, mate.
Bye.
bye. Sorry, Daddy.
Night, buddy.
I thought he said he wanted some Beats headphones, and it was like, Jesus Christ, do I have to start thinking about whether Lottie wants Beats?
I literally thought, Ian, you were going to say there, Jesus Christ, do I have to explain to Charlie why Beats are shit?
Don't worry, I can do that.
Yeah. Anything else happening in the film world this week? I don't feel like there was. It kind of feels like things are just slowly waking up again. So should we move on to trailers? Have there been any trailers?
I watched one earlier today, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was. And that's not YouTube, so check to see what it was. That was Netflix. What was it? Possessor.
Oh, or Possessor Uncut, as they keep on calling it, even though like it's never been out.
Does that just mean they haven't edited it?
Yeah, no. Apparently,
it's just 4 hours of randomly organized footage.
No, I read something that apparently it's already leaked online, and they're trying to call it Possessor Uncut, so that if people try to search Possessor Uncut on torrent sites, they won't get a hit. Like, it's crazy.
It's the Brandon Cronenberg one.
It's just the same film.
Yeah. It's the Brandon Cronenberg one, which I'll be honest, just kind of looks like it's going to weird me out too much. So I'll watch it, but I don't think I want to watch any of the marketing. Thoughts, Mark?
It's a messy as fuck trailer. It's a lot of imagery, but like really, really badly cut together.
The synopsis sounds quite interesting.
It sounds interesting. I'm interested in the film, but the trailer is crap. It looks like they're trying to make a really edgy, fast cuts and confusing trailer, and what it just looks like is like they've taken 3 different trailers and just cut bits from each one and put it together.
It sounds like a must-watch when that comes out in the UK in early 2021. Anything else?
There was something else we watched a trailer for. The Babysitter sequel.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, fuck, I didn't
When are we
watch
getting
this.
that?
It's out in September 18th, I think it is.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah, it looks batshit. It looks like they've gone, like McGee's gone, hang on a minute, You're going to give me more money to make another movie? Yeah. And I can do whatever I want? Yeah. Fuck it. I'm going to do loads. I'm going to do some mad shit.
Yeah, 10th of September, yeah.
10th of September, is it? Yeah.
Well,
So there looks like some crazy shit. Literally, it's all of the old characters are back. Apart from it looks like Samara Weaving. But yeah, all the characters are back, and it's just they've made a pact with the devil. So that's been let out of hell for 3 days to come and try and get that kid.
Oh, brilliant!
It just, yeah.
I don't need to see the trailer now. That'll do. What you just said.
That'll do. The first one, then it's a win.
Yeah, it does look like they've just turned it up and gone. All right, we can have loads more settings, can we? We can have a little bit more fun with this. Go on then.
I think that guy's a bit of an unsung hero from the first one, isn't he? What's he called? Babysitter. Sorry, guys. I'm rubbish with names.
Emilio Estevez.
Oh, Max.
Which one's Max?
Robbie Amell.
Robbie Amell, yeah. Shh, don't say that too loud. Literally, Mike will start running from New Zealand to kill us.
Why?
Mike fucking hates him. We're like a deep-seated passion.
Oh, why?
Are we sure it's that Amell? Isn't there two of them?
No, it's it's not this one. Yeah.
Well, technically there's four of them because his name's Robert Patrick Amell IV.
Nice.
Christ.
That's mental then. So what's his brother like? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being the fourth?
I think generational.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll call
generational.
the same people in one generation, like brothers.
No, I thought we're called the same. It's not like it's fucking, what's his name? George Foreman. But can you imagine that, like Robert? Because there'll be a scene, won't there? He's like the fourth in line. Can you imagine being his little brother? Or what you called, Glenn?
I don't know. If you told me there was four of these guys and they were all clones and he just happened to be the fourth one, I'd believe you.
Yeah, he's got a little number 4 behind his ear.
Yeah.
Just give him
He's a Joel Kinnaman type.
Yeah.
God, which one's Joel Kinnaman? Is he Rick Flag in Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. God, it's hard to keep tracking it.
Yeah.
Um,
Joel Kinnaman basically is skinny skin job. Jack Courtney's buff skin job.
Not to be confused with the guy who, what's his name? The guy who was in Logan who always looks like he's... Lloyd Holbrook, the man who always looks like he's dressed as... He's wearing a disguise as Boyd Holbrook.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's come to a party disguised as Boyd Holbrook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something not right, and I can't put my finger on it.
Literally, there. Do you know who I am? You might be Boyd Holbrook.
You're a man in the skin of Boyd Holbrook.
It feels like Boyd Holbrook and Wyatt Russell would both be more successful if one of the others was dead.
There's far too many Joel Kinnaman types out there. I think that's the problem we've got.
Like Jai Courtney, thanks to Captain Boomerang, I know who he is.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I can remember him because of that one shot in Suicide Squad where he has that cheeky little swig of beer. And that's how I remember Jai Courtney. But you've got Jai Courtney, Sam Worthington, Joel Kinnaman.
Who was the guy who was in Wolverine X-Men Origins, who played, what's he called? The character.
Oh, Gambit,
yeah. He's another one.
Taylor Kitsch.
Taylor Kitsch, yeah.
Yeah, God, there's a lot of them in there. Fair play.
Yeah.
There's a farm somewhere.
And aren't they all in? No. Who's in Sabotage? There's quite a few. Aren't there quite a few of them in Sabotage?
Josh Holloway's in what is it? Sabotage.
Sam Worthington's in Sabotage.
Joe Manganiello.
Oh, Joe Manganiello, that's it.
Yeah.
But I know him.
Oh yeah, no, Joe Manganiello.
He's different.
That's good job.
No, he's different.
He plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, he does play Dungeons and Dragons. I've watched some YouTube videos of him playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's very entertaining.
I watched the game where it was like him. I think it's Paul Rudd, Tom Morello, just like loads of people going, This is mental.
That sounds great. Wow.
Although
okay.
I do always get Joe Manganiello mixed up with Frank Grillo.
Well, that's some news actually. So Frank Grillo and
Got married to Joe Manganiello.
Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler are going to be the two stars of the new Joe Carnahan movie.
Fuck off. What, really?
Yeah, the new Joe Carnahan movie is going to star Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler.
Is it literally called Mark Nip, unfilmed to Joe Carnahan?
I mean, just that sounds fucking awesome. It is. Can you just? It's just so fucking masculine, that movie. It smells woodsman-y, that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like pine needles.
It is, yeah. It smells like you'd be safe in that movie. You'd be safe, Becky.
Safe.
I'd be getting punched.
Yeah.
You'd be safe.
You do look a bit like a baddie. You've got a beard.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. It's not going to end well for me.
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't have that safe aura. I have that slightly weird energy.
Yeah, weird energy.
But on a scale, if you were to put it like one of those two men or like Matthew Fox in Alex Cross, I'm closer to that scale.
Yeah.
I'm around a kind of like indecent shaped Giovanni 90s Ribisi.
Right.
Why did you put 90s in the middle there?
You've got to say it at the start.
90s Giovanni Ribisi. Giovanni 90s Ribisi.
I think that's his name.
Don't understand things.
Is that just his name, is it?
That's just his name, yeah, that's how he's known.
Giovanni, I think I'm in the Avatar sequels, no one knows anymore, Ribisi.
Do you reckon he just turned up in New Zealand just to see if he was?
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, I think James Cameron probably just had them all on standby for like 2 years and basically said, stay in your hotel room, I'll call you if I need you.
You reckon Ribisi's been there just looking at his phone going, just lifting it up every few seconds and going, oh, shit's there. What if that was the moment when he was going to call?
Is he in the first one?
Yes.
Like prominently?
Pretty
No.
prominently, yeah. He's like the kind of like the business guy in the base who's all get me the unobtainium, you pricks. I think that's a line.
Giovanni Ribisi with the chaotic energy, the scatterfucking
But that's
energy
90s
that he has.
Giovanni
is a
Ribisi.
businessman.
Giovanni 90s Ribisi.
Giovanni 90s already.
Answering his phone to James Cameron on a Motorola StarTAC.
Okay.
Right, I'm moving this fucking train along. I'm sorry. Bill and Ted Face the Music is directed by Dean Parasote and stars Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter, Samara Weaving, William Sadler, and others. So this is Bill and Ted back again 30 years after. They were Wild Stallions. They kind of are Wild Stallions, but they haven't really done the world-changing stuff they thought they were going to. But they are told that they have mere hours to write the greatest song that ever, which will connect the world. Otherwise, the entire fabric of reality will disintegrate. I think that's probably about it there. Noel, what did you think of Bill and Ted Face the Music?
Oh man, you came to me first. I feel like I'm a huge fan of these. I'm a huge fan of Bill and Ted. The first movie is one that I watched over and over and over and over and over again, virtually every day, back when it came out. So I'm a huge, huge fan of the characters. I love Bogus Journey. I feel like the difference between those two movies is absolutely massive. It's almost like if the first movie is like Pepsi, then Bogus Journey is like Coke Zero or something. Like it's just, or Pepsi Max or something. Like they're the same, but they're just more sort of, there's a very big difference in the tone. So actually this film could have been anything. I think clearly what it chose to do was go back and be a little bit more like the first one than it did the second one. I mean, there are elements of the journey that they go on, which are sort of more reflective of the second one, but I feel like they tried to make it feel a bit smaller, and maybe a little bit more along the lines of the first film. So it could have gone either way. I think most people seemed to really want this film to be, the movie that we really need right now, the movie that sort of cheers everybody up. It's been a difficult year for everyone, and wouldn't it be great if Bill and Ted Face the Music was just this really carefree, happy time? I think it was. I think it was definitely going for that. But I feel like people's need for it to be that film is overshadowing the fact that it's not that good. It's doing all the right things and it's trying, and there's something about it that I just can't put my finger on, but just there's no magic to it, and I can't put my finger on why. I don't think it's very funny. I don't think Keanu Reeves was very good. Alex Winter was fine. The kids, I found Samara Weaving's fine. The other one, whose name I can't remember, she was a little bit more of a caricature. And the plot just bounces around and doesn't really have much of a structure to it, and that wouldn't be too much of a problem because the second film is very much like that. Bogus Journey bounces around all over the place, but I just feel like they had an opportunity to do something a bit more and a bit better and make something that wasn't like Excellent Adventure and wasn't like Bogus Journey, but was something that was its own, but with these characters. So yeah, I was really willing it to work. I was really willing it to be good. My 6-year-old boy absolutely loved it, so it worked for him. But for me, it just some bit of magic that was missing to it. It just didn't quite gel for me.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Bex, thoughts?
It's difficult. I don't have the same level of nostalgia for the Bill and Ted movies as, say, Mark probably does. I didn't see them until I was that little bit older. So I think for me, it felt like a good continuation. Like the other two, I don't find laugh out loud funny. They're funny whilst being a good, interesting storyline, which is what I felt like this was. It's incidentally funny rather than being funny as its main kind of aim. It's a weird one because it's a bit awkward seeing, especially Keanu Reeves, obviously, who's in more and more prominent than Alex Winter.
Yeah.
Seeing him then going back to do that character and like doing that whole kind of like surfer dude kind of thing that they have, doing that at his age now with no beard, so he doesn't even look like himself anyway. It's a bit odd. Whereas I think with Alex Winter, you can just kind of accept it because he doesn't look an awful lot different, just a little bit more craggy. And you've not really necessarily seen him do an awful lot else since anyway. The daughters, I'd agree with Noel that the is it Bridget Lundy Payne?
Yeah.
She is very much just a caricature of whereas Samara Weaving kind of, I don't know, she clearly doesn't want to just go along that route, and she's kind of trying to be
Yeah.
not just that. But then I think in the context of the film, it ends up working better for the one that's more of a caricature. For me.
Yeah.
Like it feels like more of a kind of, I don't know, tribute-y. I don't know how super keen I am for the wrap up to these three movies being that it actually wasn't them that wrote the song that like were responsible for the song that united the world. Like I feel like the first two films kind of present it as being their destiny and it actually wasn't. They just play on it. So that for them, I was kind of a bit disappointed that they weren't the ones that orchestrated all that, and it was their daughters. But yeah, no, it's very good fun, and for me, it feels in line with the tone of the other two movies.
Yep. Fair. Also, Mark.
Well, like Noel, that I always leaned further towards Bogus Journey. Part of that is because in the housing days of owning VHS and only owning a few, I owned Bogus Journey, so I watched an awful fucking lot. And you know, it's probably up there as one of the movies that I have watched the most in my life. And you could probably just take that from ages like 11 to 13, if you just took those years.
One of the greatest soundtracks of all time, still.
It's a fucking great soundtrack, and it's a great movie. But like you say, it's quite chaotic. It's quite all over the place. Weirdly, I actually saw Bogus Journey before I saw Excellent Adventure as well. And in this, I can. The thing is, if you've asked me and said, what did you think of it straight after it finished? I would be like, do you know what, it's great fun and like that. The more I think about it, the more I let it sit with me, the more that the bits that irked me are standing out. I will, in my life, I will probably watch Excellent Adventure again. I will definitely watch Bogus Journey again. Not sure if I watch Face the Music again. I'm not sure if I ever need to watch Face the Music again. And I had a good enough time with it while I was watching it. I think I found it funnier than both you guys did, but then again, I'm easily amused, it would say. The Bridget Lundy-Payne it literally is just a selection of arm movements and head gestures and an impression. It is her entire character. I have a few really. I actually thought that the best performance in it out of all of them was William Sadler as Death. I thought he had the best arc. And you got more backstory of him than anybody else. But I have like really weird, like little minor gripes for it. There's nothing that really stands out as a gripe. But for a start, the final song is crap.
Yeah.
And that needed to be an absolute banger.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just each of them playing a little bit of music. All the people they've got playing a little bit of music, and it felt completely wrong, and it felt completely out of sync, and it felt like, well, no, they haven't actually written that. They haven't written anything.
No.
It's very much it's like a Swedish producer when I've got this song nailed, and it's like, no, you don't. You just don't. So yeah, that's crap.
I think they could have done. Sorry, go on. No, I was just going to say they could have done more with that as well. Like, the name of the film is Bill and Ted Face the Music, and I think they were so concerned with having Bill and Ted running around chasing dressed up versions of themselves, which is a very tired, like, you know, Red Dwarf used to do that every single week. Like, that's, you know, that whole sort of concept of, all right, let's go and see what we would be like in this timeline. It's a very easy thing to do that, and you know, they did it a little bit with the last film. And it comes back to what I'm saying about it being, in order to make Bill and Ted Face the Music, they took a little bit of the first film and a little bit of the second film and sort of smashed them together. But they didn't make, you know, what this should have been is a progression of that. You know, it used to be Pepsi and now it's Pepsi Max, and what is it next? Like, you know, I don't feel like they took the opportunity to do that. And the music side of it, especially with it being called Bill and Ted Face the Music, and especially with it being about them as musical artists, and what did they do to discover their sound to change the world. They could have focused a lot more on that, and then used the mechanic of going back through time and finding the greatest musicians in history. They could have used that a little bit more, but it feels like all that side of it was rushed because they were so busy going, all right, well, let's have them meet a version of them that's in prison in weird, like, muscle bodysuits. Like, they should have just focused on one thing and concentrated on making that entertaining and funny.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, another issue I had was the title.
Yeah, it bothered you.
It bothered me, this, because the first one is Excellent Adventure, the second one's Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
Then Face the Music. It feels like it would have been so easy that Ted actually says this will be a most outstanding event. Bill and Ted's Outstanding Event is such a better and flowing title.
Yeah, and then they put on a concert.
And it makes sense. But then just call it Bill and Ted Face the Music.
You're right.
Like, for a start off, Bill and Ted don't face the music. And that bothered me. Casting Gillian Bell in anything bothers me. What? She plays the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yeah. A woman who forgets to be funny in everything. And so this Kid Cudi character. Right. So this Kid Cudi character, right? I have never heard a Kid Cudi song, right?
No.
Yet I have seen him now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it's 6 movies, right?
Yeah.
Never heard a song. He's there in Bill and Ted Face the Music as they're talking about him being this great musician, this great rapper, and all that lot. I'm thinking, right, so clearly, once they've all this band's doing all of the, what is it, and you've got she's fluting and Beethoven and Mozart's in, and Jimi Hendrix is just wailing and like that, Kid Cudi's then going to blast out some rap. Nope, just goes. It's like, what? Why is he there?
But that's the other thing. He ends up being very, very important in explaining things about time travel and stuff like that. And I think the problem with having Kid Cudi is, first of all, no one knows who the fuck he is. Yeah. Anybody who grew up on these films, we have no idea who he is. And I get the sense, even though I know nothing about him, is he's somebody who was probably cool about 3 or 4 years ago. So today's audiences probably don't care that much about him anyway. I'm not the biggest fan of Dave Grohl in the world, but if you want to have Dave Grohl in there, it makes sense in the Bill and Ted universe to have Dave Grohl in there. If you wanted to have someone like Dave Grohl in there explaining, time, space continuums and that and quantum physics, that could be kind of funny. But Kid Cudi isn't funny doing that. You need to have somebody like, I don't know, it'd be funny if they had Miley Cyrus doing it, or just somebody you really wouldn't expect to be doing it, as opposed to just this random person who they happened to be able to get.
And that's the thing. Dave Grohl has one line and he's shit.
Yeah.
Like, the line reading is awful. And he's been all right in other things as well, But yeah, I mean, I'd probably pretty much echo you guys. I think it's aggressively fine. It wants to please everyone and ends up kind of like it does seem to have like really satisfied some people, but it is that whole the film we need right now kind of thing. And there's like emotional attachment and just like the whole shit, it's a big film which they released on VOD, that's very, very nice so let's be nice to them kind of angle to it, quite frankly. I didn't think it was shit, it would be a definitely not shit for me, but like kind of barely, it was 90 minutes that flew by, didn't offend, laughed a couple of times, thought it was stronger in the front in the front end than it was in the back end. That climax sequence is shit. Like, it's shit. And Bill and Ted are running around getting all these like whatever the fuck they're doing. I don't even really know what they were doing. They're just dotting around all over the place while their daughters are doing this stuff. And that's cool that you know, I mean, it was a very obvious twist, but okay. But then just to have Bill and Ted kind of darting around all over the place, then come in with a guitar in the end, just felt it did feel like a bit of disservice to them.
They were going round giving everybody in the world, or in time, or in the world, musical instruments, so that they could play along with the song at the end, which is a weird. That doesn't really make sense. Like,
no, it feels a little bit like something that sounds good on the page, and then when they actually started making it, they were like, "Oh, this is a bit shit." This.
I feel like they overcomplicated all that side of things. They, like you say, Mark, if they'd have Bill and Ted's, what was it, awesome event,
Outstanding
event, like that gives you a direction, it gives you an end point, it gives you a thing to aim for. And yeah, it would have been a little bit sort of Wayne's World 2, but you know, having something like that to aim for makes sense. Whereas what they got instead was just a mess of ideas and a relatively unsatisfying sort of hodgepodge of things that is essentially the climax to this trilogy now.
I mean, I will just say, between Bill and Ted's Outstanding Event and Portrait of a Winslet on Ronan, I think we have confirmed that Mark and I should name all films.
I think we have absolutely confirmed that, Ian,
Yeah. And it probably would have added a star to Bill and Ted.
Yeah. It would have made me feel better.
Yeah, it's fine. It will disappear, and no one will really talk about it. But you will have some people who, quite frankly, probably did need this film in the headspace that, you know, I imagine, especially in America. I mean, like, we're not doing fucking great in the UK, but I feel like there are a lot of people in the US who probably have a real affinity for Bill and Ted who fucking needed this film. And I hope that it gave them genuine joy. I'm sad that it didn't me.
See, that's the thing, though. You know, I'll preface this by saying, you know, this film coming out was a great opportunity for me to go back and rewatch the movies with Charlie. He thoroughly enjoyed the first one. He was delighted when I told him there was a second one. And then we watched the second one and he asked if there was a third one. And I said, yeah, and it's out in a few weeks' time. And we're going to watch it together because I'll never have seen it before. Unlike these two that we've watched together and you've loved, I've never seen this before. We're going to watch it, the two of us together. It's going to be amazing. And he had the best time. Like, so, you know, it worked in that regard. It's just for me, and I understand that people want it to be the film that we need right now. I wanted it to be the film that we need right now. But more than anything else, I wanted it to be the next Bill and Ted movie. And it doesn't feel like it stepped up to the plate of going from the simplicity and purity of and fun of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, stepping up to the madness and chaos of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Like, what's next? And what's next is this, and that disappoints me.
Yeah, I'm definitely not shit on it just because I enjoyed spending time with the characters, and I think if it was 10 minutes longer, it'd have probably had it as a shit because it had just outstayed its welcome. Yes. But like I say, I can't see a world where I think, oh, I'll watch Bill and Ted Face the Music without my brain going, oh, you could watch Bogus Journey. Even if I've just watched Bogus Journey, I go, I could give Face the Music another go. My brain will still go, oh, you could watch Bogus Journey again. What you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely not shit. I found it funny enough, and it was quite nice to see something that's there's no mean-spiritedness to it. It's just quite nice.
Yeah, it could have been a lot better, but it also could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it could. It could have tried to tap into recent or current trends or whatever and being a bit nastier, and it didn't. And I like that. I like it for that.
Very good. How was the poll?
Our audience poll was excellent was 78%.
Nice.
Non-heinous was 22%. And Bogus was 0%, and Whoa was 0%.
It was whoa, Geostorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good effort, that, Mark.
Thank you.
Right, I'm going to go for a P.
Have you ever wondered what so-called family films will scar your kids forever? Putting 4 or 5-year-olds in front of this movie, it's like, if they didn't know what death was before this, they're going to know it after it.
They're going to know it after it, and they're going to be freaking terrified.
And they're going to be questioning you.
Yeah.
Or do you have the slight suspicion that your loved one has a cold, dead heart?
Yeah, the Dark Knight has got like all the orphans, and like, oh no, we're going to die. They did not build up those orphans at all. In my head, it's like, kill them.
Then look no further. The His Film Her Movie podcast is the show for you. It's the movie podcast that celebrates the contrasting cinematic tastes of its hosts. So join Jordan and Lauren every week on their unique journey through the land of the silver screen. So if you're looking for a few laughs, some fun film related chat, then get involved. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You like the 1980s, don't you? Of course you do. We all do. But have you ever wondered why that decade was the way it was? Have you ever wished there was somewhere you could go to get past the usual day-glow sentimentality? To try and understand 1980s pop culture in a more social, political and historical context? Because if so, it sounds to me like you're ready to go beyond the aesthetics, beyond the nostalgia. Welcome to Beyond the Neon. Beyond the Neon is the podcast that dares to pull over the Testarossa, eject the Wham cassette and take off the Wayfarers. If you're looking for retro reviews of Back to the Future, The Goonies or John Hughes movies, you will not find that here. If you're looking for top 10 lists of A-Team episodes, Nintendo games or Stranger Things references, you will not find that here. If you're looking for long boring introductions, Squarespace ads or Patreon begging, you will not find that here. Because Beyond the Neon, we do things a little differently. In each documentary-style episode, I look at one area of 1980s popular culture and break it right down. And each episode features academic insight, guest contributions and interviews, as well as clips plumbed from the depths of the 1980s cultural void. Well, YouTube, mainly YouTube, to help illustrate the wonderful, perplexing, terrifying, joyous and utterly thrilling world of 1980s pop culture. Beyond the Neon might not be as regular as other 1980s podcasts, but that's because Beyond the Neon isn't like other 1980s podcasts. Subscribe to the show today and check out all past episodes by visiting beyondtheneon.co.uk.
If nobody else is going for a P, I'm wondering if maybe somebody wants to do some what we've been watching.
Go on then. Becky, what have you been watching?
On my own?
Yeah.
Hang on. I don't know if I have an awful lot on my own.
There's a bear with you.
The bear. Whole bear. The only things I've watched on my own, I watched It Chapter 2. Because we started watching it the other day, didn't we? And never got around to finishing it.
I didn't finish that either.
Well, I restarted it again and watched it through. It's
way too long.
The problem is, and it's the same problem that the miniseries has, neither of them stick the landing. I think this one probably does. No, I wouldn't say better because I really like the miniseries. They both do very well with the adult part of the journey, but neither of them stick the landing.
It's 2 hours 50 minutes long.
It is. It doesn't necessarily feel it while you're watching it though. But the ending, just like I watched it with Isabel, or I watched most of the end of it with Isabel, and she's like, "Oh, we get into that bit where they just basically bully Pennywise," and that is basically the ending. They bully Pennywise to feel like shit so they can beat him, and I don't know whether that's necessarily a great message anyway. But also, he's the eater of worlds. Just like shit talking him, I don't necessarily think would be enough to beat him.
Yeah.
It goes out with such a whimper.
Does it come down to that? So one of the criticisms, and you'll know more about this, is one of the criticisms that I've heard of both the series, and I'm assuming by the sounds of it, this is that they don't really touch upon what what it is in the way that Stephen King does in the books. Like, it's very much dealt with as, oh, it's this nasty, creepy clown who's from another dimension or something. But in the books, apparently, it's like, it's a lot older and deeper and more, what's the word? More
malevolent and stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's just sort of bigger. Like, he's almost like a god or something.
Yeah, basically, like the books, he's this massive evil force essentially, and they have to go into his dimension to beat him, and then I think, God, and they all get muddled up. But then,
what are we talking about? King Ralph?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. When they come back to this dimension, I think they do have to beat him as a spider, but the spider's actually scary in the book because it's your imagination that presents the imagery and blah blah blah. And I get that that's hard to do on screen, and the whole like the turtle thing that's in the book, I get that would look hokey on screen. I appreciate that they had to change things, but changing it so that they bully him into submission, just, I don't know, it's just so, it's just a naff ending.
It's 2 hours 50 minutes long, Becky.
It is, yeah.
See, what you said about it not feeling its length, that's why I never got through it. That's why I never got through it chapter 2, is because I was bored while I was watching it, and all I could think was, oh my God, there's still 2 hours of this. Oh my God, there's still an hour and 45 minutes of this. Oh my God, there's still an hour and a half of this. So it just, I ended up just giving up.
Fair enough. Now, I do think the first one, out of the two, is an awful lot better.
I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, the child actors in that, I think, do better with it as well. There's better imagery. Although there is that one bit where Stan's head grows spider legs. That's quite good. I don't know. They stuck it with part one. They did well with it, and the bits that they changed, you could kind of go, well, you know what, I get why. And that person didn't get as much screen time, but I get why, and they probably will in the second one. And it just never really panned out.
Because they got high and they smelled their own farts.
Yeah, I think possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I watched the Miseducation of Cameron Post today, which is one that I've been wanting to watch for quite a while. It's an odd one. It's very much a kind of YA kind of movie. I think it deals with the toxicity of kind of conversion therapy for homosexuality in quite a good way. Like, it's never done in like a necessarily nasty way, but it's just the brainwashing element and the convincing children that they're evil kind of thing. It's dealt with in quite a good and like realistic way. I think it kind of feels like that's probably what they're like, whereas some of them you see them and everyone's just horrible, and they're power washing them down and giving them electroshock therapy and stuff like that, and that's probably not what they're like in most cases. So I think it was quite well handled, but yeah, not particularly deep, I would say.
What were we talking about? Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yeah, definitely that one, yeah.
I got 20 minutes into the Miseducation of Cameron Post, and I never got back round to it. I wasn't hating it. I think I started watching it on the train, and I just never picked it up again. So it's probably not worth kind of cracking on with it. No.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's very much one of those films. If you're watching it and you've got enough time to watch it to the end, it's fine. If you stop halfway through, you will never come back to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I stopped a quarter way through, and I'm evidence of that. So yeah. All right.
There's not enough to pull you back.
Only the bits we watched, we obviously went to see Tenet again.
Yeah, it was. I preferred it. No, I mean, obviously, I loved it on the first watch, but I think I got more out of it again on the second watch. The sound was better. You could pick up more of what people were saying. Having it on a smaller screen as well, I think there was more of an opportunity to take everything in. And also, obviously, once you know what happens, you get the satisfaction of going, oh, okay, so that's why that looks weird, and that's why that happens, and so yeah, really enjoyed it on the second watch.
Yeah, so it's fantastic.
I'm gonna bring Noel in on Tenet. So Noel, I believe you liked it.
I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I went into it not knowing, intentionally having avoided a lot of stuff. I think I saw the very first trailer, but I hadn't seen the more recent trailer, so I intentionally knew nothing about it. And I think just as soon as it started, just the first scene is the first sequence is just gripping stuff. It really reminded me of the opening stuff in The Dark Knight, just really hitting the ground running with something engaging and interesting. So it was immediately beautiful to look at. It was immediately beautiful to listen to, and I just, obviously the only time I'd been in a cinema recently, since the beginning of lockdown, was to see 100% Wolf, so that doesn't really count. But sitting down in a cinema and just feeling like I was in such good hands. I feel like I physically just relaxed and just went, okay, just go, just take me wherever you're going. And yeah, just having it all unfold bit by bit. And, you know, I know it's a thing that that people criticize Christopher Nolan for, but I like just having bits of a story drop out in front of me and just being taken in the director's direction. And it was just fascinating. I think the last, I was a bit confused by the last act. I had to sort of give that some thought, the whole sort of red and blue team thing. Yeah. I'm still not entirely sure what they were doing.
What I will say there is it makes so much more sense when you rewatch it.
I thought
everything else, and you're like, right, okay, this is it. Honestly, the second time round, it felt like a completely different scene.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that.
But it feels like a film of, it feels like a film of three acts where you've got that first act of, people turning up and explaining things and it taking you somewhere. And then the second act where it's all sort of unraveling and you're getting the sort of the action beats. And then obviously the sort of climactic bit where it's more about tying up the emotional strands and what's happening with, I don't know the actress's name, but what's happening with her character and her son and the stuff with, what's his name? Right. Sorry, terrible names. You know what I mean? The bad guy, Branagh. Right. Yes. So it feels like it's, a film of three very different acts. But like I say, I just immediately knew I was in good hands and just let myself go with it. And it was just such a rewarding experience. And I knew the whole time I was watching it, I was just like, I am fucking loving this now. And I know I'm going to love it even more the second time I watch it. So it really worked on me, definitely.
Good. Yeah, cracking. And the other one we watched was Ready or Not. We rewatched that, didn't we?
Yeah. It landed on Sky, didn't it? And bounced on it.
Yeah.
It's still really good fun.
It's an awful lot of fun. The turn of her partner.
His little change of heart.
His little change of heart is a little bit like.
Well, I don't know though, because he basically says to her, "You're not going to be with me after this."
Yeah, it's fair enough. I still think that they try and do a little bit too much at the end.
It is good when they all start exploding though.
It is a lot of fun when they all start exploding. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, Ready or Not. It really is, and they're doing the new Nightmare on Elm Street. Scream, that's it. They're doing the new Scream movie, so yeah, I'm up for that for sure. They get that mix of comedy and done very well.
I think as an actress as well, she's very good at the whole horror comedy bit.
Yeah.
She's very good in Babysitter. She's very good in this. She's got that good balance.
She's very charming to be around, isn't she?
She is, but she's funny, nice to look at, and can be scared, and that's what you need for someone that's in a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And she's fairly badass as well in both films. So yeah.
Yeah, that's all we've got.
Yeah. Ian, what have you been watching?
Well, I tell you what, I'm mindful of Noel's time, so I thought that was. Sorry.
Should we New Mutant it?
let's New Mutant it. So
Stuffy bear.
the New Mutants is directed by Josh Boone. It is a real film. It exists.
What if when we start reviewing it, we realise we've all seen a different movie?
Well, we'll find out now, and we may well have, because Noel had a different reaction to me, I think. Stars Blue Hunt.
What?
I'll try saying that 3 times fast. Blue Hunt. Oh, there you go. All right, that was an anticlimax. Maisie Williams, Charlie Heaton, Alice Braga, Anya Taylor-Joy, Skin Job number 543, Brazilian edition. And I think that's it, really, isn't it? Is that every single one?
Pretty much. There's the Doctor as well.
Alice Braga.
Alice Braga. Did you say her? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Where do I know her from? Was she in quarantine? No. I know her from.
Fuck. She's. What the fuck is Alice Braga in? She was in City of God, wasn't she? Like back in the day.
In City of God, I Am Legend. Blindless, Repo Men, Predators, Elysium. Trying to think of what's the one that stands out.
She has been in stuff.
Yeah. I knew I recognised her.
She's been in stuff without really being in anything.
Mm.
Yeah, she's been in stuff without actually ever, having that's the breakout role.
Yeah.
And continuing that trend
is the New Mutants. So what is it? It's a bunch of mutants in hospital. Alice Braga appears to be the only employee. I'm
glad you brought that up. I noticed that. Yeah, because alright, go on.
She's in charge of
no orderlies anywhere.
No. The Skin Job does all the cooking and the washing up.
Yeah, he's the only one who seems to have a job, and he's the rich one.
Yeah,
but he seems fine with it.
He seems pretty happy putting it along with his fucking with his headphones on, doesn't he? Like, to be fair, that girl coming in was probably the worst thing that ever happened to him. He seemed to be all right. Okay, so they're all in there. Alice Braga's watching over them. She's basically all, hey, prove that you're good and we'll get you to my superior's facility. They all think it's going to be James McAvoy or Patrick Stewart, but no, it's fucking not. It's a wrong 'un, because they're being trained to be wrong 'uns. And so Blue Hunt has to convince them all that they should all get out of there, while also having a surprisingly progressive relationship with Maisie Williams. So this film was made before the bad times, far before the bad times. It was, I believe, it was filmed in 2018. It is now with us. A year after Dark Phoenix seemed to signal the end of this franchise, and here comes New Mutants, which had some stuff that was alluding to fucking Logan in it. Anybody notice that? Like the
Essex Corporation.
Yeah, and just like that footage that they showed of what they did at the other facility or whatever it is, I thought was that footage from Logan of like the stuff that nurse films.
Yeah.
I thought.
I didn't pick up on that, but now you've mentioned it, I can go. Yeah.
So they were obviously trying to do some stuff. Obviously, the Essex Corporation is in the post-credit tag of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So they were trying to do some stuff, and yet here it is. Josh Boone has said, fair play, they didn't do any fucking reshoots because they obviously weren't interested, so this is my cut. Mark, what did you think of Josh Boone's Blue Hunt cut?
It's an odd one, really. It's a very small-scale film. Like you say, it seems almost like... Because it was shot a while ago, before we knew that it was going to be dumped all over. Yet it still seems a little bit like they were already kind of dumping all over it. Like Boone's there going, right, and so what I need all of this to do this. Like, no, you're allowed 6 actors. That is it. And it felt a little bit like that.
I do like that about it, though, that it's very capsuly.
I like the fact that it's capsuly and it's all set in one place, majority of life. And I like that that element of it. I thought all the characters interacted quite well together. They were all okay, but all crap in equal measures in the same way. They were all a bit mad, but you've got to remember this is an X-Men movie, so they're all supposed to be a little bit mad there. It's short, which is always great, because movies should be about 90 odd minutes long, movies like this. But I actually I had a decent enough time with it until Fear Bear.
You weren't keen on the Fear Bear,
I literally, when it came out, I was like, so wait a minute, the bad guy is an imaginary Fear Bear.
As opposed to a real Fear Bear.
And it just made me feel a little bit like, right, okay.
That's tickled me.
Fear Bear.
Fear Bear. Fear Bear's quite scary.
He is.
It's a very big bear.
He is. Right, but all she has to do is wake up. And then just say, I don't need you anymore, Fear Bear.
No, but he's a manifestation of all of her problems and fears and self-conscious.
She doesn't look like she's had that many fears to have that level of Fear Bear.
She killed her entire community.
Yeah, but she didn't know that she killed her entire community. So how could she have that Fear Bear?
And to be fair, the Fear Bear
killed the community.
So she already had that fear for the Fear Bear to be that big.
It just seems like for all of the other X-Men that we've seen so far, we have shooty eyes guy, can change into things guy, can lift metal, can literally create a Fear Bear that can kill a town.
In fairness, though, those movies that feature all those guys like Shooty Eyes Guy, do you want to see another one of those films?
Well, I don't. I like Fear Bear, but the Fear Bear weirded me out a little bit.
They do. I mean, to be fair to New Mutants, they do say you're the most powerful one. That's why I've got to fucking kill you.
Single one.
Sorry?
They said every single one. Every single one has, this is the most powerful mutant we've seen.
Well, that's because they keep making the same film. They keep making Dark Phoenix.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we've never seen power like this. It's like, really? Really? Because we've seen it like 6 times. But in spite of all that, I had a good time with it.
Yeah. And Taylor-Joy's scary arm was good.
Yeah. And the fact that she could disappear to a limbo place.
Yeah.
I quite liked that.
Yeah.
That was cool.
What are we going to do? It's just fucking pays.
Yeah.
It's Charlie Heaton to deal with it.
And I thought he was all right, Charlie Heaton, on all of his angst there about going down in the mines and killing his dad. I was all right with that. The Brazilian kid had no effect on anybody. He's never going to be in anything again, except probably a young adult Netflix thing when he's about 35, still trying to play a 19-year-old.
He's not bad. He's not bad in it. His performance is fine.
He's the most forgettable thing I've ever seen. But it was fine. I had a good enough time with it. I could have watched them hanging out. Was so much more fun than the other ones hanging out in. Is it X-Men? Is it First Class?
Yeah.
Where they all show each other their powers.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That New Mutants and them hanging out watching DVDs of Buffy was loads more fun than that.
The Buffy thing bothered me.
Why? But they have DVDs of Buffy.
Because it was very much like, there's some sexual tension between Maisie Williams' character and Blue Hunt's character. Did you catch that? There's some sexual tension there. Maisie Williams is a little bit gay. Maisie Williams likes her. To really fucking hammer it home, we're going to show a scene.
That was a little heavy-handed.
That for me was just like, really? As fuck.
They also showed the creatures that from
the
Buffy
hush.
that were clearly the basis of the design for the smiley face.
Yeah. And it was just like, really? You really trust your audience that little that you
No,
need?
but I get that, but
He was going to be defending a movie that he likes the least of all.
no, yeah, no, I do. And I don't know. I'm kind of the more you guys are talking about it, the more I'm thinking maybe I was a little bit rough on it. But I think if it was just that bit, and then the rest of the film, it was all kind of them looking at each other but never really doing anything, then I would be critical of it. But the fact that this is a, not Marvel Studios, but still a Marvel film that was to be part of like the X-Men universe that had that relationship between Blue Hunt and Maisie Williams, I actually thought was quite touching. I'll be honest.
It was very well done, and it was very surprised. I was surprised by it. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, I mean that bit,
really
the
well
gravestones.
Yeah.
That scene I thought was lovely.
Yeah.
I thought that was really nice. And it also did when it was intercutting with Skin Job and Anya Taylor-Joy, and I was thinking like, fuck it, this is a horny film. What's going on here? Like, why are they suddenly just getting it on? And then it faked you out with it not actually being Anya Taylor-Joy. It was like, shit, do you know what? Fair play, film. You tricked me.
Yeah.
Well done. I will just say as well, Anya Taylor-Joy, they can bring her back. Like, I thought she was an awful lot of fun, even though I will be open right now. There are elements of how Mark reacts to Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl with me to Anya Taylor-Joy in this film. She can fucking send me to limbo for 20 years if she wants to. That's fine. Hiya, Don.
Before you go, can I have
Sorry?
before you go to limbo,
Could I have my what? Help.
help?
Tech help? What's that?
The TV
I shall return.
24, Ian. Legal.
No.
Yeah.
What were your feelings on it?
So I had a really good time with it, and I don't know how much of that is based on the film or how much of it I was just excited to be in a cinema watching a comic book movie. I thought it was great. I thought I really, really enjoyed it. I think one of the things that I've gone on about for a long time, and I bring it up every time, is this idea of comic book movies don't need to be expensive. They don't need to be big in scale. They don't all need to be Avengers Endgame. I feel like we're moving increasingly towards a world that is starting to understand that. We've had Joker. We're getting a Batman film, which, yes, it's probably very expensive, but is smaller in scale. We've had Logan, obviously. And the one thing that I've talked about quite a lot is just this idea of let's have something that feels small and is self-contained and is just about some people and their powers and dealing with themselves, and that is exactly what this is. So I have absolutely no reason to find complaint in that. I think it proves the rule that you don't have to connect things to other things. I think it proves the rule once again that you can have one-off standalone adventures for individual characters. I think it proves the rule that superhero movies don't need to fit within the genre of superhero movies.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Sorry, shut up. Watch.
Fucking Apple Watches.
We all have that.
It's because I wear it loose on my hand, so I always press the button when I move my wrist. So it proves that rule. It proves that you can have all of those things. I think, yes, on the one hand, it's clear that it's a film that maybe is not in an unfinished state, but has sort of been assembled, and maybe it could have been given more time to be polished up around the edges. I get that. I see that. But actually, what it does is it just puts five. Four, five? Hang on, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah,
Five.
that's 5 of them. that contradicts what I'm about to say. It puts these 5 interesting characters, one of which I just forgot about, in this space, and it just goes, all right, well, who are these people, and what are their issues and problems, and how do they differ from one another, and how do they clash, and how do we get beyond that, and how do they sort of come together? How are they forced to come together? I thought everybody in it was great. I think the guy who we're referring to as kind of a skin job here, I think he started out awful. I was a bit worried. I think the first scene where they're all sat around in that sort of session, and he's just sort of sat there being the sort of jock type, I was a bit like, oh, fucking hell, this is going to be a very two-dimensional character. But actually, as it went on, his whole arc was quite interesting. The fact that he did what he did and is dealing with that in his head, I thought was great. Anya Taylor-Joy, I think her arch was fantastic. The fact that
her arch was definitely fantastic.
Sorry, her arc was fantastic. The fact that she starts off a little bit like it reminded me a little bit of the character from the first Happy Death Day. From the first Happy Death Day movie, where she starts out and I'm like, I don't like this person. But then actually the point of it is you don't like her and you're going to get to like her. Not to the same extent, but it was a similar kind of thing. Maisie Williams was great in it, like Ian sort of said. I think the actress who was opposite her, whose name I'm going to look for now,
Blue Hunt, bland as shit.
Yeah, she was
pretty
bland. She was the least interesting one for me, definitely. But I think the fact that she had Maisie Williams to anchor her a little bit definitely helped. And yeah, I just really enjoyed seeing all of these sort of really troubled people bashing up against each other, but then being forced to deal with something. And the fact that actually what they were, the thing that brought them, the thing that forced them to deal with their problems was actually this new person being introduced to the group and actually just, forging a team without actually blatantly forging a team was kind of the overall thing of the film. It's got a little bit of a young adult edge to it, which I wasn't crazy about, but again, it sort of proves that you can play with comic book movies in a range of ways and just try things out. And I liked it a lot. I had a great time with it. I think it's probably got cult hit written all over it as well. I don't think it'll be a film that will be forgotten. I think it's a film that people will go back to, and I think actually people will, maybe not immediately, but I think people in a few years' time will look upon it quite favourably.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, and forgive me, I just spent a couple minutes getting divorced from my wife for talking about Anya Taylor-Joy like that. It was the fact that, like you were saying, it kind of did feel a little bit cobbled together. It felt like a film that literally had been on a shelf for 2 years and no one had looked at it at all.
But that can work for a film like this. You couldn't get away with that if it was a Marvel movie.
And I mean, I get it. And to be honest, I think if it had more attention paid to it, then maybe some of the bits. I mean, unfortunately, the Blue Hunt and Maisie Williams relationship may well have been like filed down a little bit more. And I'm glad it was what it was here. But it's more like there was a scene where Anya Taylor-Joy straight up tries to kill Blue Hunt. And then the very next scene, it's Blue Hunt going to Anya Taylor-Joy's room and they're just having quite a calm conversation. And it just really was just a bit of like fucking whiplash. Alice Bragger's character, it was like she seemed to have misgivings about needing to kill Blue Hunt, and then she kind of like aggressively swung the other way, and by the time she was like nearly killed, she was just basically fucking screaming at them. I like that she wasn't the big bad. It wasn't that she was gonna turn into a mutant and it turned out she was the worst mutant of them all or anything like that. I'm glad it was. Nope, she gets killed by Dream Bear. That's fine.
I think we've
But
decided
It's actually called Dream Bear.
is it?
That's his real name.
it's Demon Bear, isn't it?
Demon Bear, yeah, sorry,
Demon Bear. Okay.
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't know. I mean, I thought as a curio, as this kind of unloved odd piece of work, I think it works well. And Noel, what you were saying there about it being a cult film, 100%. And I think, frankly, there's going to be a lot of like young teenage girls who, if they see this film, I think may well legitimately be a little bit life-changing. And that's awesome. That's honestly really, really cool. But it just, as a film, it felt a little bit shonky, a little bit wonky, but I am not for 1 minute gonna say it will be like one of the worst films of the year. It won't. If this is one of the worst films of the year, you haven't seen enough films. Yeah. It didn't really work for me. And I'll also say, when it came up with the 15 certificate at the start, I was like, fucking hell. I actually honestly didn't know what the certificate of this is. That's interesting. And then it felt like a very weak 15 to me. I
think I was expecting a little bit more of a like an X-Men, like, but almost like a horror movie vibe off it, and you didn't really get that.
Even like the faces coming out of the walls thing, which was like really used in marketing, it's not there.
No, it wasn't. No.
And it felt like it just pulled its punches a bit. The girl on fire in the pool, I thought that was like really good creepy imagery. The smiley face thing, yeah, all right, it's derivative, but it was fairly creepy. I ranked it on Letterboxd to 2 out of 5. I think maybe 2.5 is perhaps more appropriate if I'm thinking about our scale. I think I would actually give it touching cloth as opposed to definitely shit. I think that the film does enough to not be shit, but I don't think, as a recommend generally, I don't think I'd recommend it. But if you're so inclined, then you may well like get what Noel and Mark obviously got out of it. And Bex, I'm ever so sorry. Have we thrown to you yet, bud?
No, but I think pretty much everything has been covered. It was enjoyable enough for me, and I think it's interesting to watch the whole kind of mutant thing. Obviously we had it to an extent with Logan, but watch the whole mutant thing from a different angle. Like, the X-Men movies are very glossy and very superhero-y, and yes, they do deal with other elements of it, but it's under that glossy sheen, and to see it done in a bit more of a low-key kind of way was really quite interesting. Hated Anya Taylor-Joy's character to start off with, but like Noel was saying before, I think you meant to, and then you kind of meant to gradually empathise with her. She's obviously been through some shit. Maisie Williams is just kind of adorable as a character throughout. She's a nice girl that has a lot of Catholic guilt and turns into a dog occasionally. Like, she's not a bad person, and they're all just struggling with bloody Catholic. They're all obviously just struggling with coming to terms with this stuff, and I think seeing that represented in this kind of more raw way was a really interesting way to kind of actually see it. I wish it had come out when it was intended to, because I think if it had been given a bit more love by the people that made it, the material there, it could have been really good, and we could have been seeing a follow-up to it with the same group of characters, and we just will not see that.
Come down.
See, that's the thing. I loved being with these characters and being with these people in that place and seeing this happen. But at the same time, the idea that they might now be out in the world, and a sequel whereby, you know, they'd be out looking like to find ways to earn money and trying not to get trapped and being on the run, and the Essex Corporation's looking for them, and what are they doing to survive. I think that's a fascinating idea. I'd love to watch that.
That's kind of like an expansion on the kids at the end of Logan, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. Yeah,
I'd watch that film.
And having mutants out in the world, having these new mutants out in the world and having them go through all that, maybe you then, I mean, I don't know how it would possibly work, but maybe you then turn that into, all right, well, how do these guys end up in the care of Professor Xavier's school? Or do some of them end up going over to Magneto? Or, you know, I mean, I don't know how you do that, because those characters, the 20th Century Fox characters, are gone, and I don't know how the timelines would work.
Fucking hell.
Not that timelines ever really mattered to those films anyway.
No,
But
do shit. Disney have got a cash cow. Do Harry Potter, but mutants.
Yeah.
The mutating school of mutants.
Yeah.
Do we not already have that? Is that not Xavier Cross's?
I feel like we do. Yeah.
No. Like have like
Is that not First
Magneto
Class?
House and Xavier House, and then Snugglepuff House and Schninkle Shrink Class, which don't really matter.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know what the plan was with this. I don't know if that's. Did they want this to meet up with the?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 2 standalone movies and then 1 movie that linked up with X-Men.
God, they really. That's some fucking crazy confidence. I can't believe 20th Century Fox didn't realize that their X-Men franchise was already dying on its arse, that they'd be able to do 2 of these and then bring them into the. That's crazy. Fuck.
Well, no, I mean, it was interesting because Josh Boone originally said that he wanted to do a trilogy of these, and each would be kind of like of a different horror genre.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And that would have been fucking fascinating, you know, because like they kind of like almost like the Asylum kind of thing that they do here, you know, that works quite well, really. And then if the next one was, I mean, well, I say quite well. I thought it was touching cloth, but you know, it as a standalone like weird YA horror piece. And if the next one was them, I don't know. In like the next town along, they keep on talking about how the next town's 20 miles, and it's like if it's the next one's them at the next town, and then it's I don't know, getting kind of like carpentry or something with like a siege film in a town.
Yeah, the Essex Corp to get them there in a hotel, and like you say, it becomes a little bit like a sort on Precinct 13.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's they could have done some interesting shit here. Yeah, I don't know. It's a shame, and
I feel like they've realised halfway through making it that the X-Men franchise was kind of dead, and then just fucking dumped it.
You mean they watched the dailies of Dark Phoenix and went,
Dark Phoenix?
We've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. But Dark Phoenix has got that Hans Zimmer score, which honestly, just thinking about that rocket going up at the start of Dark Phoenix and that score fucking blaring. Pretty much want to jerk off right now, guys. I'll be honest.
It doesn't save the film though, and this one's got Anya Taylor-Joy in it, so.
Well, yeah, all right, that's a fair point. I mean, I would go to Limbo.
Shh.
Go to Limbo for 50 years, yes, mistress. You know what? Anyway, yeah. Touching cloth.
Definitely not shit.
Yeah, I've talked myself.
I got definitely not shit. Yeah.
Definitely not shit. Yeah.
Our audience poll was definitely not shit 25%, touching cloth 25%, shit 33%, and Geostorm brackets it doesn't exist 17%.
Well, Cineworld still thinks it doesn't exist all the way
No,
through it.
It's on now. It's on now. It's Cineworld. It's now there. Look.
Oh bloody hell.
Thing is, I don't think that I would definitely never go back and watch X-Men Dark Phoenix. I probably wouldn't go back and watch X-Men Apocalypse, even though I enjoyed it at the time. Days of Future Past, I don't think I'd touch. X-Men First Class, I've watched it a couple of times. I don't think I'd go back. I'm looking forward to rewatching the New Mutants, and I think I'll probably watch it quite a few times.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, I like it as this kind of like weird little genre anomaly. So.
I mean, seriously, is this Dark Phoenix or is this Interstellar?
It's a very good one, isn't it?
Doesn't save the shitty film.
Doesn't say the film, but it's a very good score.
Here we go.
Would I watch it again, and would I watch a sequel? The answer to both those questions for me are yes.
To New Mutants, yeah.
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 Not to Dark Phoenix.
It's the type of film. It's the type of film that I would like to sit around and talk about what a sequel could be. Definitely. Yeah. And that's a sign for me that I got something out of it and I want more. But maybe it's just because I know I'm not going to get more that I want it. I don't know.
I think I might watch Dark Phoenix again this week.
Oh,
literally the only person in the world who likes it.
It's that fucking score. You try jerking off to the beat of that, you'd rip your dick off.
On next week's show, we find out.
Yeah.
He will be joining us for this week's show. Unfortunately, he has ripped his dick off.
I mean, that would be something for the death certificate, wouldn't it? Cause of death: violent masturbation due to Hans Zimmer. Fucking hell. Noel, did you want to shoot off, or do you want to listen into the She Dies Tomorrow?
No, I'll duck off because I am definitely going to watch She Dies Tomorrow. So I'll watch it and then I'll listen to what's coming next.
You're just trying to make pizza, aren't you?
Well, there is that as well. Yeah, there's always pizza to be made.
Dark Phoenix is actually on Disney Plus as well, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
Can you jerk off to something if you're watching it on Disney Plus? Does that not create some kind of weird...
You're never allowed to go to Disneyland.
I'm pretty sure Disney come round to your house and take your TV away.
I reckon, yeah.
Nah, what they do some preventative measures, like Mickey Mouse just like appears on screen and just goes, "Ha ha! What are you doing in there? You shouldn't be doing that."
Yeah, Ian, Dark Phoenix is on Disney Plus.
Well, Mickey, get ready to give me a talking to. Let's go. Right, thank you very much, Noel.
Thank you, Noel.
We folks.
We are doing a Playing It Forward a week Sunday. Very much looking forward to that.
And Tales from the Tape Deck coming as well. There'll be a couple of those in the post, and loads more.
There we go. Enjoy your pizza oven, Noel. Nice one. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
So, shall I do what I've been watching?
Yeah.
And then we'll settle in. Seriously, that Dark Phoenix score is a fucking banger. I remember being in the super screen, just like ready to watch this film, thinking like, this is going to be shit. This is going to be a piece of shit. And then when it had that rocket thing at the start with that Hans Zimmer score blaring, I was like, I can't hate this. No matter what happens now, I can't hate this. Like, it's not a good film, is Dark Phoenix, but
you're willing to give it another go because of what is it?
Because of the score, yeah, and that's I will. Okay, so I have been watching. First time watch. So HMV had a 2 for £20 on 4K sale, which was like, it's not bad. And so I bought Philadelphia. Because nothing
4K?
Yeah, on a 4K disc.
That movie doesn't need 4K, but fair enough.
Yeah. I'd never seen Philadelphia. It's a 4K transfer and an Atmos soundtrack. Because
it just seems like
an odd film to do that.
Odd film, like of all the films there to pick out of and go, right, what can we do a 4K disc of? Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's an odd one, that.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a trend here. So the Blank Check podcast, I've talked about it a lot on this show, and I really like it. And they they do filmographies and whatnot, and so a lot of the time when they have when they talk about films that I haven't seen, I watch the films so I can listen to the podcasts. And that's a bit of a trend for me this week. And they did a Demi filmography thing a while back, and it was pretty cool because they do a thing every year. They do a March Madness thing where they get people to vote on like one of the directors they'll cover, and Jonathan Demme won last year. And they're really interesting ones because he's got such a varied filmography, and the fact that he followed up Silence of the Lambs with Philadelphia is a hell of a thing. You know, he basically had a blank check after Silence of the Lambs, and what did he do? He got Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington to star in actually a fucking hit film about AIDS. And it's got the kind of the lived-in Demi thing, which is just incredibly touching. There's nothing necessarily mawkish about this film. It all just feels real. So for those who haven't seen it, it's basically a young lawyer doing very, very well for his firm, played by Tom Hanks, is fired for apparently losing an important document, and they basically fire him for incompetence. He engages Denzel Washington, who's a kind of like a no win, no fee kind of lawyer, but he's flashy, to represent him, to basically sue for wrongful dismissal because of discrimination because of AIDS. But he hadn't told the firm that he has AIDS. And I thought it was cracking. The Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks, it does a very, very interesting thing here where they never necessarily have a heart-to-heart. It's more Denzel initially literally recoils when Tom Hanks tells him that he's got AIDS. And like the next scene, he goes to his doctor and he's like, you know, can I get it from like touching people, basically? And it's like, how can you be sure? I've got to go and hug my baby girl tonight, and I want to make sure that 6 months down the line it's not like, oops, you know. And it paints that picture of what people thought about people with AIDS, to an extent that I haven't really had personal experience with like the AIDS crisis. I was too young to really remember it, but it just paints it as this fucking scary time when prejudice came to the fore. And it's like, it's Denzel Washington, it's fascinating, and apparently he received an awful lot of shit from the black community for being in a film spotlighting the AIDS crisis. And it's a very brave character to portray, because he never necessarily says, I'm sorry to Hanks, or I was wrong, or anything like that. He is bigoted, and there's really uncomfortable scenes where he's talking to his wife about how bigoted he is and how he's just like fine with that. He just doesn't like gay people. And, you know, there are people in the world now who say that, and maybe people who want, like, over the last 20 years or so have kept their light under a bushel, who are now probably getting more of an opportunity to say that kind of shit because of the way that the world's going. It's the fact that there's an awful lot of stuff that's unsaid here, and the moment that they really seem to connect and understand each other is this really impressionistic sequence where Tom Hanks is talking about an aria he's listening to. And there's some really interesting shit going on with the lighting where it's just all red, which isn't happening in the scene. And afterwards, like, Denzel doesn't really say anything to him, but he just seems to understand him and relate to him. I will say Antonio Banderas basically playing the hottest man alive in this film. But his relationship with Hanks is incredibly sweet. And you know, just little moments as well. Like, there's a bit where Mary Steenburgen does this horrible fucking thing to Tom Hanks to kind of screw him over with a mirror, and then just sits down and is just like, I hate this case. And it's like, okay, she's human. She hates this case, but also fuck you, you're still doing this case. You know, it's such a moment of sympathy, but then also, actually, no, hang on a second. You know, you know, there's this kind of like three-dimensionality to it, even though it's just literally one line of dialogue, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah, I mean, hell of a film, and I mean, fucking hell, man, it's literally the opening credits. You got Bruce Springsteen singing "Streets of Philadelphia" over it, and it's like, I think I'm in safe hands here, and you are for 2 hours.
It's a really good film. It's weird. It's like you go back now and look at it, and it's Tom Hanks' film, but like this Closely Followed by Forrest Gump were essentially what made Tom Hanks. He'd been a very sort of like successful character actor by that point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's like literally you've got Philadelphia and Forrest Gump 1 year, then the next year.
Yeah.
You know, that shit crazy. So yeah. Philadelphia, remarkable film. Next on the docket for me. So again, Blank Check recently done a mini series on Gina Prince Bythewood, and so I've now seen 3 of her 4 films. So The Old Guard, which obviously we reviewed on the show a few weeks back, and I went back and watched Love and Basketball, her first film, starring Omar Epps and Sana Lathan. So this is early noughties, I believe it was literally the year 2000. Distributed by New Line, who were making a lot of films for a black audience at the time, and this seems to be a very big culturally important film for black audiences in the US, and it's easy to see why. It's very, very, very focused on black relationships and how black families operate. You know, it's a very, very big basketball film, and I thought it was fucking fascinating. So basically, Omar Epps and Sana Lathan kind of know each other from childhood. They both want to be big basketball stars, and the film is divided into quarters where it goes through different years in their lives as they get together, drift apart, and may or may not get together at the end. I thought Omar Epps, it was a little bit obvious where his character arc is going. You know, it just in terms of sports movie kind of stuff, but I thought he was very good. But Lathan, I thought was fantastic. Incredibly driven personality, but not cold. You know, she's not just saying basketball's my everything. It's basketball's my everything, but I also very much have time for other people and whatnot. And I really like that. Yeah, again, like Philadelphia and like Demi's work, I think Prince Bythewood is she gets her characters. She creates worlds that do feel lived in, and you look at The Old Guard and just the like how settled in all their relationships are with each other. It's very well done there. And it is here as well. But I think her best out of the 3 that I've seen is Beyond the Lights, 2014 film, which basically didn't get a release over here, but it's streaming on Amazon Prime. So this stars Gugu and Baffa Raw along with Nate Parker. So Nate Parker, who has since been frankly cancelled, basically after revelations of fascinating that. I mean, like, so he directed and starred in The Birth of a Nation, which was I like at the time the most money ever spent to buy a film at Sundance, and then between that and its big release,
and it was literally at the time before it was released, it was literally being touted as this will win Best Picture at the next Academy Awards.
Yeah, it was the big deal. And then, bang, all these allegations come out and the film was brushed under the carpet. It played LFF, and it did play some festivals, but Fox kind of seems to go, oh, fuck, we bet our money on the wrong horse here, and away it went. I've never seen it, and I don't know. It's one of those things where it's separating art from the artist, and it kind of feels like maybe you should watch it because people seem to like it. But anyway, so story on this one: Gugu Mbatha Raw plays a pop star, Nomi, who her mother, played by Minnie Driver. Minnie Driver is really fucking good in this. Really fucking good in this. I mean, they all are, but Minnie Driver, like, if this film got the attention it probably should have got Best Supporting Actress buzz, no problem. But yeah, she plays a star whose mum kind of brings her up. She has just won her first award, like a Billboard award, collaborating with a rapper played by Machine Gun Kelly. And she basically goes to a hotel. Nate Parker plays a policeman who's basically like guarding her door. She says, let no one in. A couple minutes later, Minnie Driver comes up, says, I'm her mum, lets her in. Gugu Mbatha Raw is out at the balcony about to kill herself. Nate Parker talks her down, and then it kind of focuses on their relationship, where you've got this guy who also he wants to kind of get into politics. His dad, played by Danny Glover, is like, you can't get involved with a pop star, but he's attracted to her, she's attracted to him. It goes on from there. I feel like, okay, A Star Is Born is a remake of a couple other films, but I feel like Bradley Cooper fucking must have watched this. The presentation of Nomi just feels like what they do with Ali in A Star Is Born, and it's got the like really focusing on their relationship and just them, and kind of like the whole kind of like fuck the world kind of aspect that they have in A Star Is Born for portions of it in Beyond the Lights. Gugu Mbatha Raw is very, very fucking good in there. She's got to go to some emotional places, and she hits them. I was really quite taken with it. It's one of those films where people say like, oh, Beyond the Lights was the best film of blah that no one saw, and you kind of think like, yeah, all right, fucking chill it out, shut the fuck up. But then I watched it, it was like, you know what, yeah, more people should have seen it. 100%. Yeah. Beyond the Lights, it's really, really worth a watch. And if you liked the latest iteration of A Star Is Born, it's basically essential viewing.
Nice.
I'll
be getting to that because I think it's on Prime, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on Prime. Yeah, it's on Prime. It's
this week.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to see what you guys think of it. It's fucking good. And Love and Basketball, I rented it off iTunes. So
I've seen that. I'm sorry, when it came out, I think.
Yeah, it's I like Junior Prince Bythewood. She did The Secret Life of Bees as well, which I want to catch up with. But yeah, she's fucking interesting. So yeah. Okay, so last kind of feature of the evening. Let's talk She Dies Tomorrow. Directed by Amy Seimetz and stars Caitlin Scheel, Jane Addams, Chris Messina, Josh Lucas, and others. Michelle Rodriguez with the best last line she will ever have. I like trees. I'm really going to miss them. Brilliant. She Dies Tomorrow is
director cameo as well.
Sorry?
We have a director cameo as well, don't we?
Oh, what did she play? Who did she play?
A director cameo. Adam Wingard shows up, doesn't he?
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Amy Seimetz was in it. Yeah, Wingard shows up for a scene as well. Yeah, absolutely. So, Amy Seimetz starred in Pet Sematary, basically said, thank you, I will take my money for this, and I'm going to make a film with it. Fucking A. Good on her. So, essentially, there is some sort of mysterious virusy type thing where if people are told by another person that they're going to die tomorrow, it then kind of gets the kernel of that idea in their head, and then they start obsessing over it, and then they become convinced that they're going to die tomorrow, and then they just kind of need to tell other people about it, and it kind of spreads from there. I think that's probably as much of a synopsis as I really need to give. Right, yeah. Becky, you didn't like it.
No. I was really disappointed as well, because I went into this really wanting to like it and thinking it looked very interesting, and it was interesting for about 5 minutes, and then it was just shit.
Got me words there, Vex?
Didn't like it.
Fair enough.
It just... I don't mind, like, arty films. I actually quite like good art house movies. It's just this isn't one of them. It really wants to be. It's really super keen to be, but it's not. It has nothing to say. And it's just bobbins. So yeah. I don't really have an awful lot else to say about it. It's so vacuous that it doesn't deserve any more being said about it.
Shit.
It really has, yeah, because I was kind of rooting for it. I really wanted it to be good. And it's let me down.
Mark?
I think I'm definitely more. I was definitely more into it than you, wasn't I, Vex?
I mean, I think the cat was probably more into it than I was. So there's a lot of flashing lights going on. So
the first 16 minutes of it, because I paused it and said, "Oh, you didn't have X," when someone actually started talking and went, literally no one spoke until this moment, and it's 16 minutes in.
Does that include the bit where she stood in a badly fitted fucking sequin dress pouring at trees?
I was into it.
That, did you?
I was into it at that point. I was well into it. The fact that I was like, right, this is great. It's and then she goes back into back into the house and sees all the colours, and you get the. It's a very overused imagery, but it still works. Of the red and then the blue and the what is it? It's very it's very Gaspar Noé in that sense. He uses that a lot in his movies. A lot of filmmakers that have used it in what is it, but as a specifically art house filmmaker who makes films about nothing, that's very much one that I got that vibe off it. I was getting that vibe in the first 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when you bring Jane Addams into it, I was still digging it and I was still into it. And it added this different weird kind of energy to it. And then she's just wandering around in her underwear and goes to see her brother.
She's not in her underwear, Matt. She's in her PJs.
Her PJs, sorry. Yeah, that's it.
She's an angel of death in PJs.
Yep. And then she goes to see a brother, and we get Jenny from the League is basically talking about dolphins and saying the same thing I've been saying about them for years.
I didn't mind that section, actually, to be fair.
And I'm all for it for that. And if it ends there, and it's a 40-minute movie, and it ends there, I'm fine with that. I had a great time with that. You get fucking Brian comes into it, and his just dour demeanour of just accepting the fact that he's going to die.
Love Brian.
Again, Brian's great, but Brian doesn't look like he's having a good time
anywhere
before all this happened.
I thought he'd already been infected.
Yeah, Brian literally could be the epicenter of this. But then when we get her going fucking sand buggying at what appears to be midnight after fucking downing a few bottles of wine. By the way, great line of, "We don't need you to relapse." I'm not relapsing. Well, I'm drinking, so yeah, I am actually. Yeah. It's a great realization moment. But then the second half of it tries to do stuff with story. It's like, I say, no.
Yeah.
You were doing fine with weird imagery and Jane Addams as a pajama bedazzled angel of death. I was fine with that. But then, like, the fucking Brian turning his dad's machine off and bits like that, it felt a bit meandering, but not in a cool way. Just in a,
this is happening now.
You're trying to write more of a story and you don't need to.
Yeah.
You were cool with the imagery. Just stay in her back garden. It's fine. She could have just stayed in that house, in that back garden, been fine.
Just follow pajama lady around.
Then, but one bit that really got me was the first Wingard scene's fine, but then her getting stoned with Wingard and then going, "Oh, should we make out?" was a bit like, this is just it feels wrong within this movie.
It felt so heavily padded.
It felt like it felt more like padding there. But then I liked the last scene with Michelle Rodriguez, and what is it? I liked that of her just wandering in, bleeding everywhere, and going, "Hey, can I go in that pool?" And I'm going, "Yeah." And then I'm gonna miss trees, and then it ends.
She's bleeding a lot.
Yeah,
as well, like when she gets in the pool.
Yeah, but they're like cool with it.
Yeah.
I went from being it was a bit shit, and I was maybe touching cloth with it. So the more I think about it, the more it's going up and getting closer to a definitely not shit for me.
See, the thing is, I think from the synopsis and from the trailer, it kind of gives you the idea that the way that she's feeling and the way that she communicates how she's feeling makes other people also question their mortality and think that they're going to die tomorrow. There's not that.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm going to die tomorrow. All right, okay. So am I. Oh, gosh, so am I. It's not like there's any kind of, they're not passing on like issues with their own mortality. They're not kind of making other people think about that. It's just, oh, all right, okay. Yeah, so am I. I've heard that now, so am I.
I preferred that though. Ian, go on, because you really like this, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's like the film of the year or anything like that. And I definitely think there are meandering bits, and that the second half is not as good as the first. When it tries to get into the looking into Caitlin Shale's kind of like what has led her to this moment stuff, it is a little bit like, I'm not that interested in that. Like, I don't care that you were on June buggies and shit. But it was a collection of scenes, some of which I really liked and some of which I wasn't really that bothered by, more than a coherent narrative. And I mean, like the opening, I mean, that initial bit where you first see the red and blue lights and she's kind of like walking towards, and just the way that it's like it's strobing and her face looked fucking different depending on what color it was. Like I thought that was awesome. I really fucking liked that. And then every single bit that Jane Addams was in, I just thought was just bizarrely funny. Her whole bit with the in that party scene where Chris Messina's sister obviously thinks she's a fucking bellend, and like that, just how she chews her out about ruining her party. I just want to talk about dolphins fucking, it's my birthday, great. And then Jane Addams and Josh Lucas, very much here for it, fucking brilliant. Just like Josh Lucas, like almost putting her on the bed to do something with her, and it's like, I just want to go hug my wife, and I'm just running out. Like, fucking brilliant. The Brian and his girlfriend, like their dialogue together, fucking love that. When she's kind of like chewing him out in the car, and he's just like, I don't think we need to be talking about this now. The whole like, you didn't come to my birthday party. My dad had a stroke. Well, I thought you would have called or something. don't know. It's just, I really, really liked those bits. I mean, I'll never watch it again. You know what I mean? Like, there is no need to watch this film more than once. There's no fucking hidden meaning or anything like that, you know. But while it was on, I just thought it was quite an interesting piece of work. And I mean, it's like New Mutants. I think it's one that I'd recommend if you're so inclined. But you know, if you've heard the synopsis or watched the trailer and you're like, yeah, nah, that's not for me. Yeah, don't bother. You know, and Bex, I'm sorry you obviously didn't get anything out of it. You know, but I had fun with it.
Fair.
Yeah.
It just, do you know what? I expected more from it. That's all it was.
I think that's fair.
The bits with the pajama lady were funny. That was its semi-saving grace, but there wasn't enough of it.
One thing I will say is it's not horror in any way.
Oh God, no.
I don't know how you can even put it in that. I would say its closest genre is probably comedy.
Like dark comedy.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy. But there's no... let's say this played at, let's say, a Fright Fest or something like that. You'd be like, right, but there's no horror element to it in any way whatsoever.
No, I mean, like, the closest thing there is to a jump scare is the title card at the start, where it's very, very chill and there's just very loud music for that card.
Or when we get that same bit of opera for like about 20 minutes.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Fucking hell.
Can you imagine her neighbours? Fucking bitches put that fucking song on again.
And then Jane goes home and puts the same fucking music on.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That film should have ended with her dead and Jane wearing a new leather jacket.
Yeah, it should have ended with a new leather jacket, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just massive fan of that bit where she goes into the guy talking about, like, how he can make a jacket. I just wanted her to say so badly. So if someone killed, like, if I died, how long would I have to be? How long would I be able to stay without being taken in to be cured and whatnot? You know, like, she wanted
further.
Like, she just wanted to be a jacket, or at least that's the impression I got. Did she want to be leather?
She wanted to be leather. She
Yeah.
wanted to be a jacket.
Yeah, I like that scene where it kind of felt like it was just on the precipice of her asking, you know, could you do my skin? And then she never does. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a really interesting piece of work. Definitely not shit.
I think I'm geostorm on it. Because I do think it is a bit shit, but I did really like the opening, like 16, 17 minutes.
Brian, mate. Come on, Brian.
Brian.
Huh?
Brian seems like he knew about it all beforehand.
Brian's already sad.
Yeah, Brian was already sad, because his dad was dying.
Well, yeah.
But our audience poll, definitely not shit, 14%.
Okay.
Touching cloth, 71%.
Okay.
And shit, 14%.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
That's not a bad turnout, I think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have some questions.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ricky, after the new Bill and Ted sequel, what franchise from the 80s would you like to see produce another film?
Honestly, the film we need right now is Police Academy.
I mean, do we?
I need another Police Academy.
Another Police Academy.
Do we? With what's going on in America right now, you reckon we need another Police Academy?
No, possibly not.
I need another Police Academy. Fuck it. Let's shape the police in the way we want it.
Buffoons.
I think they do that quite well, actually, yeah. But yeah, the thing is, I would watch another Police Academy movie. I've watched all the other ones.
Sounds fair. I have one, but I don't know whether it counts, because I think one of them came out in the 90s.
What?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop. No, there's 2 in the 80s, and there's 1 in the 90s, and they're actually doing a new Beverly Hills Cop.
Ah, well, see, they future knew what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's a strong shout. That. Yeah.
I'd watch another one of them.
With Eddie Murphy again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back. Yeah.
Axel Foley.
Axel Foley. Yeah. Busted back down to a detective because he's pissed everyone off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that. Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's.
Bernie'd be like really mouldy by now, though.
Well, you'd have to bring in like a different, like I don't know, they go back to fucking, they hook up again, and then they go back and somebody else dies, and you get a line that says, "Why does this keep on happening to us?" And it's just something else.
Weekend at Marty's.
Yeah, it's just a different thing. They end up randomly working for the same firm again, and have to go to the what? It's something you can write it like that. You could easily do it. Yeah, but I would watch this shit out of another Weekend at Bernie's movie, as long as one condition.
Go on.
One condition.
Go on.
Right. All practical effects, not a single moment of it can be a special effect. All has to be a guy just full fucking Terry Kaisering it.
See, the thing is, like, Weekend at Bernie's is great, but I think Weekend at Bernie's 2 has its own special pros as well, doesn't it?
It does indeed. I also have another one.
Dancing to music.
I also have another one.
Go on.
The Burbs.
That's not really a franchise though, was it?
No, but
I'd watch a sequel.
I'm taking it. A sequel of The Burbs now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. They all shoot each other now, don't they?
But you could play with that.
Write that in.
You could certainly play with that one of them is just trying to shoot everybody.
Yeah.
Imagine the fun you could have with that, set in like a gated community.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good shout there. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, I showed Isabel Airplane.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Oh,
you didn't mention that. Watched.
Well, I didn't watch it all the way through because I was meeting you at the cinema. I left her watching it.
Ah, right.
Now, obviously, she's a 16-year-old girl, so she's very miserable all the time. But just the bit where they're like, gosh, which order does it go in? Oh, we've got Clarence, Roger, what's your vector, Victor? It just cracked her up, and she was just giggling in the corner of the sofa for about 5 minutes. It was really nice to see, actually, like the comedy of stuff like that holds up really well.
It's brilliant.
It is really good. But the problem is, I want to show her more like it, but we've started with like the gold standard with Airplane. We've got to go Hot Shots, yeah.
Yeah, Hot Shots, and then Hot Shots Part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
And then you can throw in stuff like Spies in Disguise, Fletch.
Well, it's Christmas Vacation, so we could show her Vacation.
The movies of Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, just thought I should mention that.
Very good.
What are we covering next week, Ian? I keep remembering.
Let's
Fucking hell.
Oh, I think it's going to get divisive. Charlie Kaufman's I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Yay!
Woo! How long's that? Let's have a look.
Fucking hell. Oh, God, no.
How long are you? How long are you? Let's have a look. Because I've got a terrifying feeling it's going to be
15.
2 hours 15.
Not as bad as I feared it might be.
I don't know. It's still pretty bad. I'm intrigued, but also of an opinion that if I get 20 minutes in and think this is going to be a slog, then the next 2 hours are going to be the longest 2 hours of my life. But we shall see. We'll also be covering Mulan,
which I'm actually really looking forward to.
I'll watch the fuck out of Mulan, and we're going to be really hungover on Saturday, so I'm really looking forward to just like a hungover Mulan watch. And I'll leave it there.
Are you out on Friday?
Going to a house that we are bubbling with, where we're going over there with lots. Another couple that we're bubbling with are coming with their 2 kids, and then we're going over to this house where our friend lives with her son. So it's basically going to be 4 kids all messing around while we all get absolutely shit-faced.
Solid.
Yeah, we did it a couple weeks back round here, and it worked very well. So we're going to try the same. And the good thing is, like, literally, she's like a 10-minute walk away from ours. So,
nice.
Yeah, it actually works out really well. Yeah, we get very drunk when we're with these folks, so it's going to be a laugh. So that's the thing. Like, what on a previous one of these, the day after was the day that Don and I just decided to watch. It was the weekend that we watched Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. And like Donna never really sits down and watches films, but we were in that kind of delicate state. So Saturday, I could see it being Mulan and 2 other films of easy watching quality. So I'm quite looking forward to that. So
good day.
Yeah, I think so. So we're gonna have. I'm thinking of ending things which may well make our brains itch, but we shall see. We've got Mulan as well. I'm gonna watch Les Miserables, the Oscar-nominated foreign language film about the French riots, which is opening in my Cineworld this weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is at yours, guys. But no pressure whatsoever to watch that. But it's basically the only new release this week, so I'm gonna go check it out.
I actually wouldn't mind seeing that if it lands in ours.
It might play. It's not on our app, but that doesn't mean to say it's not playing.
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
Pretty shit out Cineworld.
So we shall see how that goes. But we're upon syndicate.com. The Iron sequel, James for the Love of God, Get a Promo, his film, her movie. Pommy, Chin Sugar vs. Punter, What's on Tap, Entertainment Landfill, Beyond Neon, new Tales from the Tape deck coming. Playing it forward, we are recording a week Sunday. We are doing so actually this is a bit of an announcement because we haven't necessarily actually said this yet. The Sweet Smell of Success.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! What are the other 2?
Greta.
Sorry.
Greta.
Yep, that's the one I got for you. Really fucking looking forward to talking about Greta. And what else?
Oh fuck. Right, let's find out. I need to find out. I can't remember. Sweet Smell of Success. Greta.
The Wave.
The Wave.
So we've got German foreign language.
Yeah.
Classic Hollywood.
Yeah.
Joe Carnahan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Neil Jordan, Chloe Grace Moretz, Isabelle Huppert, Madness.
Which The Wave are you on about?
The Wave, the German 2008.
2008?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No. Hang on, is that the disaster movie or the one about people indoctrinating people into a Nazi-like cult?
The indoctrinating people in Nazi-like cult.
Yeah, why did I think it was a disaster movie? I mean, I suppose...
There is one called The Wave that's a disaster movie as well.
But it's the cult one, yeah?
Cult one we're doing, yeah.
Oh. I just realised that. I was looking forward to a disaster movie, and now it's Jordan buying that one, isn't it? No, it's not.
That's Noel's bought it for Jordan.
So Noel has bought Jordan the German... Wow, all right. That does feel like something Jordan would want to watch.
Wait, did you think it was The Wave, the 2015 one?
I did.
I mean, I'll happily watch that for the podcast if you want it.
I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe let's do that on a future Playing It Forward.
I'm going to keep that in my back pocket.
I almost made a very big mistake.
Good
I
job.
would have totally have watched the disaster film one. All right. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to be in a certain fucking mood for that, eh?
Yeah, without question, mate.
Oh, God. All right.
I'm
Anyway.
very much looking forward to rewatching Stretch, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean...
Fucking
Stretch.
though. Chris Pine, best Chris. Best Chris, it's just having an awful fucking lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that weird guy who smells the ticket.
Very good. Right. We will be back next week. Stay safe, everyone. If you're in the US or any territory getting Tenet this weekend, take the precautions, feel safe, have a lovely time.
Yeah.
And we'll speak to you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.